Is making its way through Georgia right now as a tropical storm. More than 60 million people are currently under watches and warnings. The system made landfall in western Florida in its Big Bend region last night as a Category 4 hurricane. At least 4 people have died as a result of the storm. The governors of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia all declared emergencies in their states. Well, CBS News national correspondent Manuel Bojorquez has been tracking the storm from Tampa, Florida, for us. So how's Tampa looking these days?
Well, you know, the sun is out. It's a dry day now, but the damage is done. If you take a look over my shoulder here, you can see the residual flooding that was left behind by Hurricane Helene. In fact, we are standing right now on a bridge that connects mainland Tampa to Davis Islands. And that is a place where early this morning, firefighters told us they were still having to conduct water rescues, moving people out using high-profile vehicles. So this right now is being used just by emergency personnel for the most part. There is a level 1 trauma facility, Tampa General Hospital on the islands there as well. They put up a wall to protect against the storm surge, and they say they got 4 feet of water up onto that wall in the overnight hours. It was impressive to watch where we were yesterday at Ballast Point Park, which is just down that way, how quickly after about 6 o'clock or so the water started to rise. Today it has started to recede, but again, for many people who had to be rescued from their homes, the damage is done. They are weighing really how to clean up at this point. The city of Tampa said this morning there were about 87 rescues so far, and that is something that is being replicated not just here in Hillsborough County, but in all the counties up and down this area, up into the Big Bend of Florida. Anne-Marie?
One of the things that we knew as we were watching this storm is that it's really wide, so there's a sort of a vast area impacted by the rain and the wind.
What I can tell you about the one death that was reporting in this area, it was last night. Apparently a big road sign collapsed onto a vehicle as somebody was driving. And I know that the early deaths that were reported in Georgia, 2 deaths, the first reported there, and of course, unfortunately, the number will climb, was possibly a tornado that was spun up by Helene as it churned through the area. But yeah, the size of the storm is just what is so impressive and unfortunate because it has the ability to impact many, many states at one time. Here we are in Florida dealing with the effects. Georgia and the Carolinas are right now getting all that water and having flash flood emergencies.
CBS News correspondent Tom Hansen has been in Tallahassee, Florida for us all night. So, Tom, what kind of damage are you seeing there? A lot of cleanup going on behind you, as I see.
Oh, that's absolutely right, Juliet. If you can envision this was a 60 to 70 foot tree that fell onto this apartment, and we have been covering the damage that we've been seeing, pockets in Tallahassee, not widespread. You know, fortunately for this largely densely populated area, the damage has just been in little isolated pockets around the city. The main concern here, though, if you want to look over my shoulder this way, power lines, downed power lines leading to widespread outages, at least in the early part of the day. Now, at last check, the number has dropped from over 1 million this morning across the state of Florida down to the 800,000 range of people who are without power. So it is starting to decrease, but there is still going to be a long path to get things up and running when it comes to electricity. Utility companies saying that it could potentially take days for power to be 100% restored to the state. Juliet.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Power there with that leaf blower and all of the crews doing what they need to do. But thank you so much, Tom. We'll let you go and appreciate your reporting for us. And as expected, Helene's damage is leaving a lot of people without power right now. This map shows you millions across the southeast in the dark. Over 1 million customers are hoping to get their lights back on soon in Florida. So you can see here a majority of those are in the Big Bend area where Helene made landfall. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just started speaking moments ago with an update. Let's listen in.
Everyone is in agreement that power restoration as rapidly as possible really helps with the response and the recovery. You know, you've seen in other parts of the country just recently, people weeks without power for like a Category 1 storm. Here in Florida, we've worked really hard to not have that happen, and that has happened in the past, even here many years ago. So we've had great partners with FPL, TECO, and then Duke. And I think you saw Duke had amassed a lot of linemen in different parts of the state. I think they had Tropicana Field, massive numbers of folks. And then they had at the villages, they had a big area there too. So we've worked closely with Melissa Satius, who's the head of Duke Energy here in Florida. I want to thank her for really leaning in and taking these storms very seriously and really wanting to provide really strong service for their customers, because you just take it for granted. You turn the light on, you get the charge. But when times like this happen and you can get power on quickly, that really is something that I think a lot of people appreciate. So, Melissa, why don't you come up and update on your efforts?
All right, Florida Governor DeSantis giving an update on the power outages, the serious nature of what happens after Helene hit that area. And he says the cleanup will continue for days, and he thanks all of the people and the rescuers there in his area.
A man and his dog got a life-saving lift after getting stuck off the coast of Florida as Helene approached. His 36-foot sailboat became disabled and began taking on water in the choppy sea. Well, a Coast Guard member came down from a helicopter and rescued them. The man and his dog were then taken to a nearby airport for medical services. The Coast Guard says they're reportedly both okay. Just incredible video, and we are happy that this rescue went so well.